pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I'd like to hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and so far a good New Year. So we'll get started right off the bat. Jennifer gave me a thing here. That's probably the first thing we need to do. Normally we do old business, but we need to appoint some officers right off the bat. So first one she has down is council president.
Make a motion that we appoint Toby council president.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, utility superintendent.
Make a motion we appoint Andy.
I'll second.
Forgot what I was supposed to say. All in favor? All those in favor?
Aye.
My goodness. Thank you. Building commissioner.
Make a motion to appoint Andy.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm gonna skip code enforcement to last. What about the attorney?
I think with all the litigation we've got pending, we need to stay with this guy for a while, but I'm sure not happy with him.
I'm glad you said that, Pam, because I wanna make my feelings known too. I'm not real impressed with Manning. None at all, as a matter of fact. I'm very disappointed, but given the fact that is handling the baseball deal, there's probably a lot of stuff he knows that we're not even aware of. And I think it might behoove us to keep him until at least we find out what the end of that thing is. So, are you making
I'll make a motion that we keep Manny.
before we make motions, anybody else got any more discussion about Manning?
Have we received a contract or anything from them for their fees? Are they staying the same or is
I haven't
there-
received anything from him as yet. Have you?
I haven't heard.
We make a motion that the fees stay the same
On contingent.
contingent or something. I don't wanna pay any more than what we already are.
No.
So we're gonna put this on hold, or what are we gonna?
I think we need to see a contract in case they raise their, their fees and stuff to us, and, I mean, or else make it motion and contingent that, we get a contract from them, they, stating what their fees are going to be, and then go from there.
Okay.
Take your motion.
Oh, that's,
I just feel that way. That's my
I'll
opinion.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Finance, the bank.
I make a motion, we just keep the same one.
Your second?
Go ahead.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Fire chief.
I make a motion, we keep Jerry.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Gary's in. Okay, now I wanna go to this code enforcement. I guess, Murray, won't you, tell us what you've done? You got it down to 3 people, I understand, so.
Yeah, we received several applications. A lot of them I immediately disregarded because they simply submitted a resume, didn't actually fill out an application. And then there were a couple that filled out applications that I didn't think were based on their past experience in light of some of the others that applied. They didn't seem like they were the right fit for this kind of thing. So anyway, all 3 of you, I've given you these resumes. I've met with all 3 of these. They all seem like they would be okay with doing it. I don't think any of them would really have a problem with it. They all have a fair amount of experience in similar fields. So
Are they all comfortable wrangling dogs?
So what I told them was they will not have to be chasing any loose dogs. None of
Okay.
them live in
'Cause they're still
town. They
looking
can't be
loose.
expected to
Come
get a
for that?
call and drop whatever they're doing and come. I mean, I live in town and have been at home before and gotten that call and not been able to find the dog, so it's, we've gotta figure out this county thing.
Yeah, I know.
It's, on top of that, just
The big thing is we're waiting on them now.
And Doug did stop in last week.
Uh-huh.
And he said he does not look for anything to happen with,
Election coming on.
but he was wondering about, the kennel
In my report,
and
Okay, we'll wait till then.
I just got a question. A dog at large is state law.
well, he said he had two
It has
calls.
nothing to do with, it's state law. It has nothing to do with our local ordinance. And most of our dog issues are state law. Why can't they enforce state law?
It's their hangup,
Because
at least
they're
as far as I gather, is it something having to do with the Humane Society contract or something like that? That's what I understand, but we need to figure out how to get past that.
How to
issue.
prod them into some decision making.
And it sounded like that that officer, when our kennels are done, which will be soon, it sounds like, would be able to work with us on the catching part,
Sweet.
if we can do the storing part, so.
Okay.
So anyway, all that to say, all three of these, I've told them that they won't have to
Okay.
do anything with animals. So, I mean, if we still maintain the ability to have chickens, they would have to do that. And then if somebody were to, if they were to see someone or someone were to submit evidence of somebody's dog making a mess and then not cleaning it up,
Okay.
they would cite for that, but no chasing dogs around
Okay.
town or anything like that, so.
has any of these three stood out in your mind? I assume I personally, if anyone's asking, I kinda tend towards this, is it
Edie.
Edie?
Yeah.
She lives in Arcadia, she's real close, and all three of these people are outstanding. I mean, probably overqualified for what we want them to do anyway, but, I kinda like her, I don't know.
I did as well, talking to her, like I said, all three seem like they would be good at it, but, I definitely would have no hesitation with, I'm very confident in her abilities. And she seems very motivated, they all do really, but,
Live in town too. She used to live in town.
She grew up in
Yeah.
town too. She
Yeah.
was a long time ago.
Yep.
Was a Briscoe.
So she knows the town, so
I feel, same, I reviewed those two, and Edie would have been my pick also. Like I say, I know her personally, she did live here in town. Actually, I work with her husband, ex-husband. I guess I better clarify that for the record, it's ex. But, they're both good people and everything, and Edie was on the Noblesville Police Force for many, many years and retired from down there. So she's got law enforcement training and knows what can and can't be done as far as laws go too. So,
So would somebody like to make a motion?
just one question.
Sure.
They know that there's a salary cap on this of only so much a year they can make.
I guess not.
Don't
I've
say
told them,
the ordinance doesn't say that.
I've told them that it would be at the most a day a week. So,
Because they all said 20 an hour and we only allowed so much in the budget for the year. That's why I'm asking.
well, I haven't broken that down and given them that number, I guess, but, I would be of the opinion that we could cross that bridge if we need to.
Okay.
and then we'll bring her in
If we
to,
need to adjust that number some, we can adjust that number some, and if we need to tell them to slow down a little bit, we can tell them to slow down a little bit.
I think we appropriated like 2,000 for,
So there's,
A day a week all year long is $8,300. If they work a day, an 8-hour day every week for 52 weeks is $83.20.
It was just
Well,
something
I
to
can-
mention because, like I said, they all say 20 an hour, which I understand, but we do have a cap.
sure. Well,
And it wouldn't be like a day, it would probably be an hour or so a day.
Wouldn't take him that, it wouldn't take him an 8-hour day most of the time,
Well,
you know,
that's-
it's like, he's saying maybe, you know,
Yeah.
so many hours a day or something off and on here, and there,
I-
2 or 3 hours, and
I basically have said it's kind of as needed as you find issues.
Right, when you have
and
it.
my best guess is coming in once a week or something like that, so. But that is worthy concern.
Well, I make a motion, I would like to have Edie be our ordinance
Control officer. yeah.
control officer. We'll just have to work with her and
just have to
go from there.
just keep in touch with Jennifer to see where we're at as a budget and everything, and
Yeah.
if you know, we see a need for it, maybe we just look at the budget and see if there's some place we can transfer additional funds if we need additional and we're running short, but you know,
Okay.
we gotta have a code enforcement officer, so
Yeah, we do.
second Jody's motion for Edie.
She was on the board.
All those in favor?
Aye.
She was on the board?
Yeah,
Edie was on the board. So she knows the money situation in town.
What, that allows her 100 hours for the year. I mean, 100 hours, $20, you know. So if she came in 2 hours every week, that would be, that would still be within
I'll
the,
speak with her about that,
yeah.
and, you know,
I think
it could very well, we could very well require more than that, though, just
Yeah.
look around it. To be 100% honest, I have let some things go this year that we've got some stuff that needs to be taken care of, so.
Well, we'll have to
Okay,
work the
let's,
budget.
let's move on to approval of prior minutes. You got that in front of you there.
Marie, what was that address on that property that's listed in here? You recall? It's in the minutes.
That was the one on,
You're out of state.
it's on Indiana.
Dave
It's
Baker.
Dave Baker's old house.
Okay.
I did deliver them notices after the meeting. I don't have a council report this evening. I had forgotten that I did that after our meeting.
Oh,
That's
it's okay, that's
okay.
fine. I was just curious of what the,
That's whoever, I guess Edie, that'll be high on her list. For sure.
I hear a motion, we accept the minutes.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Okay.
Okay, let's do the reports. Andy?
All right, underwater, the plant's treated 1,413,530 gallons of water since December 11th. Our average daily usage over the last 4 weeks has been 50,483. Filters are backwash on December 13th, 28th, and January 7th. And we've been having some issues with well number 3 not running properly. I've narrowed that down to a programming issue. And when Peerless Midwest comes out for our annual pump testing, they're going to correct that. January back T-test is complete, was absent, and our January water report's complete, has been submitted to IDEM. The new water mains at the subdivision have passed their pressure test without any issues, and they're gonna be ready for service as soon as we get our back T-test complete. And
performing daily checks at the lift station, the sewer plant. Sewer plant's closed, we're not discharging. The weekly sewer samples are complete, and the December wastewater report's complete. It's been submitted to IDEM. The under streets, the rescue truck has been serviced. We replaced the broken window on the backhoe, the tail light, the weather stripping, and the window locks. And we installed the new outside electrical outlet for the train ticket booth over at the shelter house. We started on the new dog kennel. We were talking about the dog kennel. Should be finished next week. Glidden Fencing is going to make the panels. I don't have a definite on that yet. We're going to get our end of the construction part of it done so they can get it measured and get the panels made. The road bed is almost complete out at the subdivision, but they're waiting till spring for the curbs and the asphalt. They're going to move to the south section around the pond and start the utilities there and the road bed there.
So he didn't put in the extra gravel.
Oh yeah, it's crazy because there were some soft spots out there. We did a little roll proofing on that, and it's just like it was. It's like the other streets out there. I mean, the gravel's probably 16 inches thick out there now, so there's no issues there. It's 2s on the base, 53s on the top, but there was a couple areas out there that they ended up having to dig out that the 2s are almost 24 inches thick because they got into some buried topsoil and stuff and dug it down where some dirt had been brought in there, earlier date. And under building, we had 3 inspections, issued 1 building permit, 4 zoning inquiries, 3 building permit inquiries, and then I've assigned all the addresses for the new lots to subdivision, so every lot out there has an address now. And the December census report is complete, it's been submitted. So, now I'm sure any questions about anything.
The locks over at the shelter house for the bath.
Yeah, I didn't put it in here, they're changed.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
so how that is now, it cost us it was about $200. So how it is now, someone that rents it and gets what always has been the shelter house key, that key will do every lock in the building. And the trains turn their keys in, have been issued new keys, so their keys only do the outside door, the 2 doors off the hall, and
The utility.
the supply room. And then if they were to do a special event or something, they would have to come up here and, check out a key like anybody else for the rest of the building, but,
Okay.
Thank you, Andy.
yep, so it's all good.
Have there been any issues with the cleanliness and what's going on over there? Like,
Well, no, now because it's closed and, the whole situation was, and I really believe this, is when the train was gone, it was the people behind, they were going in and out because they're sitting here for an hour,
Okay.
And then the people on the train were saying, oh, we didn't use it. So, no, there's
okay,
no issue because nobody can get in there now.
sweet, thank you.
Gary?
Well, you should have in your packet, or I handed them to you tonight. I kind of wanted to give you kind of a breakdown. First of all, there's the spreadsheet with the runs from, I think the last time I gave these to you were, well, back in probably November. Because we only had the meeting, I didn't bring them to the December meeting, we only met once. So that's a breakdown until the end of the year. Last year, or I shouldn't say last year, from August the 31st when we went in service until December the 31st, we've had a total of 46 runs here in the town. 35 of them being EMS runs. There was 3 fire runs, and then with the Earth Festival, we had 8 runs that day for a total of 46. What's kind of interesting, if you break out, and on the page looks like this, you'll see fall, lift assist as the breakdown or the run type. There's been 22 of those. 17 of those have been to 135 South John Street. And if you take the 2 that we had during the Earth Festival, which that's a total of 19, so really we've had like we've had 3. So, but we 135 South John is a problem. So, and so we'll, I don't know what we can do about that. Because, you know, even with Jackson coming up, I mean, yes, we're paying them in a contract, but they don't get paid anything for coming up and picking that lady up, or we go over and pick them up, whatever. They don't get paid for that. You know, there's fuel costs.
I was gonna ask you, Jerry, where do we stand as far as legalities as far, I know the fire department gets a call, or 911 gets a call, you gotta respond. That's the law. When it becomes a habituary thing like it seems it's become, is that a situation where somebody of authority needs to go talk to them? And tell them that there's been a severe problem here, and they're gonna have to do something on their end to alleviate the problem, or what?
I think there's probably somebody out there we could probably reach out to. Murray, does Noblesville have anybody? I know Carmel does. Carmel has. I know Scott Stroff has spoken about some kind of something at Carmel Fire that will go out and work with the property owner.
We don't have that now, but that's kind of in the works. We have actually a fall prevention program that's being worked on.
Okay. Well, I know Carmel Fire does, and I know Scott's thinking about maybe seeing if they'll come up here and talk with this lady and see if we can help her in any way. That's the only thing I know to do. So.
But you can't refuse to go.
Yeah, right. If she gets down, we've got to go help her up. I kind of also here at the bottom of this page, I've kind of given you a breakdown because I'm going to be very honest with this council. We're struggling to get the equipment out the door, and I knew it'd be that way, with being a small volunteer fire department. But I wanted to give you kind of a breakdown on the time of runs versus daytime, nighttime. Those 46 runs, 24 of them has happened between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. And 14 of them have happened between the time of 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Again, I kind of threw in the Earth Festival, all those happened during the day. But the majority of those runs are happening during the daytime, which is when we have the least amount of people in town. So, and I even looked at to see if it made doing from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and it changed it a little bit, but it didn't change it much, run wise, or a breakdown of those runs. So, we'll continue to try to improve on the response time. I think I've said this to you before. It's a minimum of 10 minutes for me to get from Cicero to Atlanta, and that's running the speed limit. I don't want to, I don't run a blue light because you're just opening yourself up for liability, not only for myself but for the town. So, and if I have to bring a car, especially this time of year, if I have to bring a car that's sitting outside, it's going to take me a little longer to get this, the frost off of it too. So, like I say, we'll continue to work to improve that response time. But I just want to be transparent to you guys. We are struggling with that. So, and we're not the only small. I mean, there's other small volunteer fire departments that struggle the same way that I'm struggling, or this department's struggling. So, like I said, we'll attempt to improve on that. Overhead door repair, it hasn't happened yet. I was told after the first of the year. I tried calling yesterday and didn't get a response, and I tried calling today and I didn't get a response. So my guess is they're busy first of the year. So I'll continue to chase that. We've had some dispatch issues. Somehow our tones got taken out of the system down at the communications or at the county around 21st of December up to almost New Year's. We weren't getting anything. That has been fixed. I still haven't gotten an answer on what happened. I don't know if it was during an upgrade or what, but we weren't getting any tones for our runs. Had some Wi-Fi issues down at the department. Again, I thought it might be on the county's end of it. I noticed that the deputies sit down there and hook onto it or whatever, but it wasn't. That router that's in the station is owned by the town or the department. I had Scott Ligler from the county come up and look at it, see if he could help me, and he found some things had been switched around on it. And so as of right now, it's working again. So I guess that's a good thing. The new pagers I bought for the department, the first 3 that we received were programmed good, and they worked. The second batch we bought, which was 5 of them, we started issuing those to the members, and they weren't programmed by J&K Communications where we purchased. So those are back down there getting programmed. They went back last week, and they told me they'd turn them around quick, but I have not received a call back on those yet. CPR cards, I know I still owe Toby and Jody a card. I have those, I gotta print them out. So, I wanted to kind of let the board know some proposed legislation that's being proposed down at the State House. Senate Bill 121, they're looking to increase the clothing allowance for volunteer firefighters from $200 to $400. Don't know, I doubt if that'll go anywhere, to be very honest with you, but they are proposing that. Supposedly, and I don't know what the bill number is on this, but supposedly there's going to be a proposed bill that will offer free education to volunteer firefighters in the state through the Workforce Development Fund. We need something out there that's going to attract these younger members through the doors. I mean, it's not only is the town of Atlanta suffering in terms of manpower, but there's other departments across the state are having the same issues. And so hopefully this free education will pass. I know Marshall Greason has been speaking about it as he goes around the state, so he's hoping that it passes too to help the volunteer side. There is going to be another attempt to do away with township advisory boards. I know that doesn't affect you guys, but that's going to affect all the townships across the state. Again, that's part of that Shepard-Kernan bill from probably back about 2006. Last year, the attempt was to force smaller departments to merge with townships, I should say, to force smaller townships to merge with a larger township, and that failed. So now it looks like they're going to try to do away with the advisory boards, which means that your trustee then would have to go to the county council to get their monies for the departments, which I think that'll be a headache. I have an MOU here. I was approached. Our office had some training out in the EOC and Emergency Operations Center, and Shane Booker, who is the executive director of EMA, approached me about maybe using the station down here to house one of the county's light towers. Those light towers currently are sitting outside, I believe, and they're trying to get those inside. So I have an MOU here that I'd like for Danny or whoever the attorney is to look over. And if that's something you guys want to do, but I think it also will be, it's a good thing for the town because those are generators too. We could if we never lose power up here, we could probably fix it where we could power something if we needed to. And that's part of this MOU. So, but I don't know if I'll pass this around, but there's what the light towers look like. But that, there's 6 of them in the county, and they're wanting, they would like to place one up here in the north end of the county.
Sweet.
So, And there's the MOU, I'll pass that to him. I need to look at, having some equipment, maintenance, or having some maintenance on some equipment. I need to have the hydraulic tool and the power unit, looked at. I need to have the ladders tested that Chief Muzar mentioned when the last time he was here. It's, time for that. And I need to have the cascade unit and air compressor. I need to have it, maintenance. So I believe Pro Air is the one that does the cascade unit. I need to look and see who does ladders. I don't know if you can help me with that, or I know you.
I think we have an outfit come from out of state somewhere, come do ours.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look and see where I can find somebody. I don't know if there's any, I don't know, check with Hoosier Fire or something like that and see if they recommend anybody. But I think those need to be done annually, I think. Yeah, so. And then the last thing I have, I would like to suggest that the council make Kevin Slaughterback assistant chief. So I know that our bylaw says that that's a responsibility of the council to do that, and I'd like to recommend him as one of the two assistant chiefs I have. He lives here in town. I believe he's also on your plan commission, or as BZA.
BZA.
Mm-hmm. So I think he'll be a good one. We're going to have to get him some training, but I think he would be a good one. He's, like I say, he lives in town, and that's what we need. We need people here in town that'll step up, and so I would like to offer that as the assistant chief. So
Yep. I'll move that we let Jerry appoint Kevin as the assistant chief.
I'll
Is there a
second. I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
thank you. That's all I have, unless you have some questions for me.
Jerry, what are the colors on your dispatch log?
Okay. Green is runs, past runs. Red is fire. And I've used green for like EMS. The blue basically are, I call that my festival, for festival runs. So, and then the black are the current ones since the last meeting. So the next time you see it, well, you shouldn't see this one unless you'll see a new one for starting the first of the year in the next meeting, so. And we've already had 2 runs in this new year, and those at the very end. And one of them was the 135 South John. And it's not funny, but it is. And then 410 South Broadway was the other one. So.
You,
Poor girl.
on your volunteer fireman, are you having any kind of a hardship as opposed to what time of day you get your calls? I know the majority of these are AM calls. And by the way, they're 135, she's got 14 of those 17 are in the AM. And I didn't know if you had a
seems like
personnel problem with getting,
We're struggling. I mean, we're getting a few out, and sometimes we get disregarded because we can't get out or whatever.
So what I was getting at, Jerry, a lot of guys, that early in the morning and that time, people getting ready to go to work. And,
Yeah, exactly. That's why I tried to show you now on that one page of the breakdown, between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. So, yeah, she and it seems like when she gets up of a morning, it's when she falls. And if you'll look at those, most of those are in that 6 to 7 range.
Yeah.
So,
14 of the 17 calls were in the AM mornings. Usually real early in the morning.
So.
Early.
Do we have a place to keep this, so it won't get damaged by kids or anything walking around when it's not in
it'll
use?
just have to be inside. It'll be inside the station.
Be locked up in some fire station.
Yeah. Now I will have to.
We have use of it if you, like say you have emergency and you need to take it out.
And I would
set the
think
lights
Andy
up.
would be able to use it if he would need it like on a water main break in the middle of the night or something like that. You could light it.
Rescue.
Well, that's true. You have that.
Rescue.
But you got to back up in case that one doesn't work. So, I just think it's a good thing. They're the one, they approached me about that, but I'd like for the attorney to look at that and make sure they're not,
Yeah, they
something-
reference several state statutes in there that
Yeah,
pertain to
exactly.
that agreement that need to be reviewed by the attorney.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem having it, just,
It needs to be protected.
yes.
I agree. So,
Okay, thank you, Jerry.
you're welcome.
Jennifer, do you have anything?
The only thing I was going to say is I, signed my certificate of appointment December the
Okay.
27th, and I took my December 28th, so.
Congratulations.
Let's see, I went through, all the documents have been signed down at the bank, with taking Robin's name off and putting mine on. Robin has been helping me, and we have rolled over the general fund and taken care of that. We're working on the utilities now. So really, we're just kinda
Moving along.
moving along, yeah. Bank recs were done in December, everything was fine there, so we're just kinda keeping our heads above water until everything gets completely done, so.
So has the emails been changed over also?
They have not. Right now, we're just gonna keep them the same until we can kinda get it stabilized.
Okay,
And
so
then we're gonna work on, yeah, Robin's
Thank
kinda, checking her emails, and if there's anything that I need, she'll forward it to
Okay.
me, so.
So if I need to send you something, then I need to do the deputy
Yes,
clerk treasurer.
yes.
Okay.
That would be fine.
Okay, let's move on to old business. I assume we've all been looking at the 911 contract. If you didn't see it on the internet, I did get a hold of Phil Harbert, and I pretty much gave him, as far as, I think we're gonna have to sign, we're gonna have to take this. That's my personal opinion. And I told him we would make a decision tonight, and I think I gave him the impression that we would approve it. But, in that papers that you have there, they're willing to pay, I didn't bring my paper with me, by the way, I left it at home. But, they're willing to make a huge financial contribution on it for this next coming year. And I thought it was a good idea, what do you think?
In talking to him, did he tell you what our part is? They don't specify.
No, he didn't know at the time.
I know that, there's been some past, meetings and conversation over this, and at the last meeting that we had before the end of the year, Robin said that, they said our portion was $6,000, and we'd pay 10% of that, so it'd be $600. That's my only problem, is it doesn't say what the 10% is, and we agree and sign this, and then they change and say the $6,000 that we've been verbally told, or whatever is not actual numbers. I agree that we're gonna have to do something, and, it took forever to get our fire department in the system, and I don't want to do anything to jeopardize that myself personally, and really, I've been involved with some other conversations where there's other entities are trying to figure out some other way of going around this without signing this, because they have issues with it also, and the unknowns that's in here for the future and the coming years, that they don't know what's going to take place or what that's going to be. For 19, they're offering to pay 10%, and then the way we pay 10%, and then for 2020, if something ain't resolved or whatever, they're possibly 25%, and they don't go on beyond that as to what it could increase. Being that they're the only dispatch in the county, we really don't have much choice. But I've heard conversation that there's some other places that are trying to work a deal with Tippecanoe County. and different things, but then there's the delay of communication and getting the
Anything.
proper communication to
Fire.
get response time.
He had as you notice, the deadline was the 4th.
Right.
He extended it until tonight, the 8th. He told me on the phone he'd extend it to the 8th. I told him we would vote on it. So, having said that, I don't know whether he's willing to extend it any farther or not. He just assured me that their people were willing to make the financial contribution, and then I'm like you, I don't know how much that consists of, what percentage, I mean, it's,
Newspaper article said 90%.
yeah.
Yeah, they say
So-
90, we pay 10. Well, this contract is over by December 31st, 2019, so it's only good for the year.
Yes, I know.
So if they're gonna up it,
They'll have to notify you.
It's
Yeah.
just a year-by-year contract.
Well, I know when
Yeah.
Fred and I started attending these meetings when they started having them. He asked me to go with him and I did, and, I think originally they were going to charge the town, I think it was right around 12,000. That was the initial.
And
And
that-
then they started talking about the passing the tax, having,
tax.
and,
which is
it's went by now because it's the mayors. I understand the mayors are up for, your mayors are the ones that sits on the 911 board.
Yeah.
They control it. So,
well, according
And that-
to this contract, one of the board members has to be part of their 911 executive board. If you look on page 5. 5. Number G.
That's saying every town and township
Point one.
gets one.
If I read somewhere in here up in, when I got that email, it says that there'll be a non-voting member though.
Yeah, we just can't vote.
So it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you can't vote, I mean, what's the sense of being on the board? You don't have any input or any say in it, but at least they're gonna let you sit in on the meetings and listen to what they're talking about.
I don't think we're left with much other
I don't know
option but
what
to sign
kind of
it.
choice we have.
I talked to Robin today, and she said, most everybody was signing.
Yeah.
Pretty much
Yeah.
have to unless you're gonna make your own decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we need more time to consider?
Now, it's my understanding if we approve this, whatever that 10% is, that's for 2019. So if it's 1 year contract, they'd have to do another one in 2020. So what I'm getting at is, this time, they can't raise that amount this
For a
year.
year.
exactly.
So, you can't get down to June, July and say, oh, we need to raise it up more,
Yeah.
See, that's
Not this
my concern is it doesn't say what we're paying 10% of.
Yeah.
It's not in the contract. It says Atlanta's portion at 10% is. And we did get some information or email. I got the number from, like I said, Robin at that one meeting that she was in conversation with Mark Airbrand or whoever, that it was
That's what's
6,000.
in my notes, is
And it would be $600 for this year for the town. Jerry said originally it was $12,000. And that might have been whenever counting police
When they
runs
first
and
started
everything.
proposing it.
I think that was when they were putting police runs, and then they revised that because we contract with the county on the police department, so it lowered the run
And
numbers.
if I remember right, they
Last year's
used the runs at that time that Jackson had made into the town, and then also what the sheriff's deputies or the sheriff's department had. So that's how they came up with that 12 grand.
And they reduced the county portion off since we're under contract on the police section, so they based the final number, the way I understand it, just on the number of Jackson's runs up here on the fire department calls. Is the way I understood that to take place. But
So what's the board in favor of doing tonight?
Well, it's like this, we don't sign it, then what? They're not gonna send police up here and
Right.
stuff?
Without this,
I mean,
we're not
we've
gonna
gotta
have
protect our citizens,
True.
and it's for the year.
kind of a
I know there
squeeze.
is no price to it, but we did have papers from past year of the prices they were thinking of.
I feel, I feel comfortable with Mark talking to Robin and giving her those numbers, that that's what it will be. Or it'll be right in that ballpark, give or take a little bit.
That's what Snowden said the numbers were when I went down to that meeting in Cicero for
Okay.
3 hours.
Okay,
601.04.
okay, so, that's been given to Robin by one of the county commissioners, and then it was in a public meeting that was stated by the director down there.
Yeah.
So, I really don't think we have much choice, and I don't want to, like I say, we gotta keep dispatch for the residents of the community, and I don't, the trouble we had getting down there
Yeah.
with our system anyway. I'd hate to jeopardize that and go through all that again anyway. So, I make a motion that we sign this contract for 2019 for the 10%.
Now here's second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Maybe your left foot. Thank you.
Is there any more old business? Not we'll go to new business. We got Nickel Plate Express on here.
Tony Dickelville came in this afternoon, and she was wanting to know, what the board thought about them keeping their shed over there. They were gonna bring in some gravel, and, she just wondered what your thoughts were. I think she had talked to you about it. She did?
Dee did.
Dee did?
They said
Okay.
somebody was coming tonight.
Where
They
they
wanna make the shed permanent.
where they want to put gravel at?
Underneath.
Under-
I think so.
Under it and in front of it, because it's turned into a mud hole.
Is it in the way for, booths for Earth Fest?
They need to be eliminated anyways. On that corner, but
Booths too?
Well, she kinda mentioned, using that even for them at a festival to sell their tickets out of.
Well,
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the chance of somebody tearing it up since we have no police protection?
not our problem.
Okay.
I mean, in my opinion. It's like, leave it at your own risk, but I think they ought to have to, I think they should have before, but especially if it's gonna be permanent, that they need to add the town as additional insured.
I was gonna say insurance.
Yep.
Do they give the town anything? Does the town get any money for like the use of the electricity all over the place?
No, we started sending them a water bill, and also sending them a bill for supplies at the, in the bathrooms.
I think they're willing though, I think they're willing to pay.
yeah, if I remember right, they were willing to.
I could not, I came into town Saturday morning, I could not find a place to park on Main Street.
I know.
It was amazing.
It is.
They were all in the Choo Choo
The
Cafe.
layout, the train didn't have anything to do with it on Saturday, yeah.
Just the layout part of it.
When they're run, I mean, I've started them, when they've been running from the weekends, they're averaging about 1,200 people a weekend, or low weekends 1,000, and their high one's been almost 1,600.
They did 10,000.
And the Choo Choo Cafe is full.
That's good.
Really?
Good for them.
So,
Which
is good.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Except, I'll tell you, I'm gonna say it and that's it. It does away with our parking on Saturday night to the music hall.
What does?
And most of the, because they're all parked here. They're on Main Street Park.
Oh, the train.
And the people that come to the music hall are basically 70 years and older, and they don't have a place to park.
And you've been here a lot of years.
Yes. We pay property taxes, they don't. That's right.
Oh, they wanting to leave it there basically because they got nowhere else to put it?
No, they can move it if they wanna use it.
We're gonna start running again, what, in February?
They're the weekend before Valentine's Day, they're down, they're doing improvements to the train. They will run the weekend before Valentine's Day and Valentine's Day, then they're gonna take a break until St. Patrick's Day. They'll be back open for St. Patrick's Day and for the rest of the year, till next winter, till next January.
You know, kind of a mute point to have them move it. I mean, we give them permission to leave it over there while they were, you know, using it for their ticket booth, and they're, you know, here it is January, and they're gonna run in February, move it for a month, and then move it back.
Move it back, yeah.
You know, it's really kind of a mute point for them to pull it out of here. You know, I think if they need to put stone or something because of the mud issues or whatnot, that
That was
they
my
need to do
suggestion
that.
too,
And
because if you go over and look at it, it's just turned into,
Mud
cause it's
pit.
about, I don't know, it's like 4 or 5 feet off the pavement, but that whole thing is just,
Would it be better for them to pull like a sidewalk slab or concrete in front of it over to the road or something like that versus gravel that the kids would be throwing rocks and be out in the gravel and grass growing
the
through?
whole
Or,
train tracks gravel. I mean, for rocks, but I mean, if you guys want to pour concrete, that's up to you guys, I wouldn't, that's locked in. But it's just, that section there, I think they should make it stone, or even if they wanna put like pavers down, or, you know, paver blocks or something like that, but it needs to be something.
that's just the reason I was thinking about something concrete just to make it, you know, look decent instead of putting some gravel there and then getting kicked out in the grass and grass growing back up in it, so it's something that would stay
Or
looking
the
nice
paper
but could be
stones that they
removed.
use for the
Yeah,
fire
pavers would-
pitted area.
Oh, yeah.
That'd look nice, something like they used over there to put in front of it.
It would match it.
Yeah,
So
tell
we
them.
need to, we need to decide whether it's gonna be stationary, permanent, and if so, then we can put a stipulation that, you know, they put some kind of pavers or.
Yeah,
on
if
there.
they'd continue the pavers like they have around the fire pit and stuff, that would be,
It would blend all in.
yeah, I don't have any problem with them. Are we prorating them electricity or anything like that? No?
I don't know what the electric bill's been, to be honest with you, I don't know.
What, do you know
I just
what the
watch
electric
water
bill?
we're using.
I don't know how much electricity that.
Is that billed separately over there?
Yep,
Maybe you'd
Yeah.
be able to compare it
We can look
to
back, yeah,
your,
and see how much it's gone up this year compared to this time last year.
thank you.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with them putting that stone or whatever in front of it.
I don't have a problem with it being there, it's just,
They should do.
then we gotta figure something out for parking.
Do you want me to tell them to add the town as a,
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
if it's gonna be permanent, absolutely.
Can we somehow direct them into the parking lot back here for parking?
they do.
They fill it up too? Well, that's the first time I've been here on a Saturday morning, and I couldn't believe the amount of cars.
Well, Saturday was an extra more, cause usually there's not that many down here. It was really. What was you doing? I'm down here today. Which one was today? Of course, he's only open till 3 o'clock.
Maybe we ought to tell Nickel Plate what that we wanna be adding insurance and our idea about pavers or stone or however we want, and then let them decide whether or not they wanna do that.
It's
I don't wanna
almost,
vote on
They
this
will.
and say,
They
you know,
will. That they will. I've had 3 conversations with them. They
it'll
will.
cost them more to move that thing in and out than it will for the pavers or whatever to put something in front of it,
Right.
so I'm sure they wouldn't have a problem with it. Just require it, and we're gonna leave it, that's what we
They
require
said
that
they
they
would
do
do.
for it.
Whatever you guys wanted them to do. So I told them it's gonna be up to you.
They've been pretty cooperative on everything they've done, and
so how's the council wanna vote on this?
I moved to let them.
Here a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
aye.
All those opposed? Okay, it's approved. Hamilton County Emergency Management.
They were just needing, our appointment, on the advisory council, and I think has been Jody in the last year. So they
Last
were
couple
wanting
years,
to,
yeah.
who we wanted to appoint for that, so.
Jody,
I'll second that motion.
So here a second?
I seconded.
All those in favor?
aye.
And there was one thing I forgot on new business, and that is, there's 2 water adjusts in your packets.
What's the second one?
Library.
Oh, the toilet.
This one definitely needs sewer, so.
And we'll take, Paul Hancock, 300 South Walnut.
Hers is out in the yard.
So hers,
So she definitely didn't use sewage if it was out in the yard.
That was a bad one.
Yeah.
Now, they,
Froze my cars in front of my house in ice that deep.
You're skating?
Good thing I got 5 cars.
3 of them stuck and 2 of them running. I move that we adjust the sewer on both of these, but not the water.
they use the sewer at the library.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it was a leak in the toilet,
Oh,
so it went down the sewer.
well. All right, then I'll move we adjust Pauletta's sewer.
53,529.
and it was big, a lot. I tell you, that last day, I mean, if I was right, I mean, there are variations, but that last day was like 36,000 gallons.
She tried,
Yeah.
she said she really tried to get it.
I kept trying to get her to shut it off.
She called me up and she was in
afraid
tears and
it would-
she was afraid it was gonna freeze because she had plumbing that west wall and without any water running to let it drip. She was afraid it was gonna freeze and she called me up and she was in hysterics and I gave her everybody I could think of, nobody could get to it, you know.
Bad time.
So what's your recommendation for Paulette?
Just for sewer.
Here a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
What about the library?
Okay, what about the library?
I'm of the opinion that it's unfortunate that they used this water and it went through our sewer plant.